Big fella here.
That's a block. Western Bulldogs.
I think put the first hand into him is what he's saying.
Straight on block.
Let's listen.
I got the ball. Thank you. Time back on. That's rough, big boy.
Inside Melbourne for another week. Two very likely types join us on the podcast. A bit more room in the studio because there's no Jack Viney. I'm flying solo, boys. Welcome Michael Hibbert and Jake Melksham to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Stannis.
Great to have you both here. As I say, no appearance from Jack. Unfortunately, he's a late omission.
It's probably good for the podcast then.
So you,
a bit more exciting.
so are you stepping up as co-host, Hibbo,
If you
or
want me to, mate. How much do I get paid?
it's all
Pie
done
and
on
a
a.
Coke?
It's all exactly. If that, half a pie, half a Coke. I usually have to split it with Jack.
Do it for the love.
Boys, yeah, thanks for joining us. A lot to get through. Melky, I want to get to you first up because we invite questions from the outer each and every week, and I might say that 95% of the questions are about you and your health. Give the red and blue faithful a bit of an update if you can about your foot.
Okay, well, it's good to hear that they still know my name and I'm
Your
still
number.
part of the club. Yeah. So I am about 2 weeks away from returning to the VFL. So that'll be a very similar program to what Neville just completed. He had a couple of quarters at Casey and did a little bit of extra running after the game to get his Ks up, and then obviously played last week against the Bulldogs. So that's what the plan's looking like for me. So hopefully I'll be back around 20 against... who do we play around 20? It's after the St Kilda game anyway, I think.
Just 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
Asking the wrong bloke.
Yeah.
Don't have it up on the fridge,
Who we
mate.
got this week? West Coast. No,
Yeah.
yeah, 1 week at a time.
Give us a bit of a history lesson if you can, because a lot of people have seen, out sort of indefinitely for a while now, but it's good to put a shorter timeline on things. What sort of happened and how did it all sort of aggravate?
Yeah, so it was just a bit of a freakish accident, I guess. So I went to kick the ball. I spun around, kicked the ball, and I saw David Swallow coming across my body with his hands to smother it, but right underneath his hands was his leg, his leading leg. I'm not sure if that was his left or right, but it was right underneath, and that's where my foot collected his shin. But it was sort of like a massive, when you stub your toe wearing no shoes, it was like stubbing my whole foot. So you've got a joint in the middle of your foot, and the whole front of my foot just bent forward, and basically just stubbed the whole front of my foot. And there's a little crack underneath where the joint is, and it was better that there was a little crack and not a full break, because I would have had to have surgery and might have been a little bit longer. But this has probably been a little bit longer than we'd planned as well. But with your feet, we know that through Jack Viney and Aaron Vandenberg and a few others, even Jack Trengove back when he was at the club, that you don't want to muck around with them too much. So we've just been making sure we get it right the first time, and things are going fine. I'm just sort of getting the rest of my body up to scratch.
Gym work.
All the gym and the running, like I'm starting to get sore legs again, and sore back and whatnot from weights and stuff. So that's a good thing, I guess, in this industry.
He's made of cement, Dave Swallow. He same game broke my collarbone running into him. So it's interesting. Like it feels like that game was so long ago.
Yeah.
And I'm back. Played a few games back now, but I don't know. It's like 10 weeks in rehab. It's a lonely place sometimes.
And it happens sometimes in footy, doesn't it? I mean, I know you've had your trials and tribulations this year as well. Hibbo, you build so beautifully in 2018, achieve what the club achieved, and then just a little bit of bad luck, and things just don't go as well.
Yeah, like you think, you have a pretty solid pre-season, and then, break a bone like Jake and I have, and it puts a bit of a dent in your season. But that's footy. I'm lucky. I've actually got back pretty quickly, and I've played some footy since. But
is that the bigger picture? I mean, you look at it. You've been through some other stuff in your careers, and you're just like, injuries here and there will happen now.
Yeah, I think you know what you're getting into when you play footy. I mean, we've played footy most of our lives, and injuries are a part of that. But it is still hard, especially like Jake. He's been in rehab for 10 weeks now. It doesn't make it any easier whether you go through it 100 times or it's the first time you go through it. you just want to be out there playing. And I'm an average spectator at the best of times. I hate watching games, and so, to be out for 10 weeks, it can be frustrating.
Jake, have you done anything different on match day in terms of have you taken on a different role, mentoring, coaching?
Not necessarily on match day. I try and get up in the stats box and watch from up there with a few of the other coaches and players, but I've sort of just poured a little bit more of my time in from day to day with some of the younger guys and getting to work with them a little bit better and help them with their game and also get to know them away from footy as well, because having a young family like myself, you sometimes pigeonhole yourself to thinking that most of the time you are busy with your own family and stuff. But I've sort of just had a focus on getting to know some of my younger teammates a little bit better and also help their game. So it's been actually quite a productive period, and I've taken a positive outlook on it. Guys like Aaron Vandenberg have been here for like 5 years and played 25 games. So, and he's had this debilitating foot injury for a long time now. So I'm very mindful of having a whinge or moaning about it in the locker rooms, because he'd slap me across the head pretty quickly if he heard it.
Speaking of positives, one to pull from last weekend's loss to the Doggies, Hibbo, the back line, and just how finally you're getting some games together, which has been a rarity. Maisie, Jake, and also good to see Neville Jetta back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Maisie's played some really good footy for at least a month now, and Jake, we finally got him back, and he went out with an injury, and as you said, Neville back as well. It's good to have I guess the core back 7 or 8 now. I guess when Marty comes back, to be able to get some games together and get that cohesion as a group, you're good for the end of the year and next year and going forward from there. So, I mean, I'm excited for the group that we've got down there. It's an experienced, talented group, and hopefully we can stick together for the rest of the year now. And
then as a spectator, you would have seen the other end of the field and what Harry Petty was able to do. He jagged a few, I think 3, kicked 3 on the weekend.
Yeah, he was
Bit
awesome.
of a surprise.
Yeah, he I think the role got thrust on him during the week that he was going to go down forward, given that we were a little bit low on tools.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, we were still low in the last quarter when Maisie had to go down there. But he was awesome. He marked the ball well. He was seeing it well up into his hands and timing it well. And for him to kick his first goal and kick a small bag of 3, I think was awesome for him and his confidence, and to be able to play at 2 ends of the ground is a real string that he's added to his bow.
I threw my hand up to play it forward.
Did you? And
you remember Duck Carey, Pagan's paddock? I said to Goody, I've got something for you, mate. It's Piggy's paddock. Let's just open up the forward half of the ground and let me at them. Yeah, I don't know. Got skipped through, and they weren't a big fan of it. But
Petty's paddock.
Yeah, Petty's paddock. So anyway, I'm knocking down the door for that this week or going forward. I'm saying, mate, I can play there. Don't worry about that.
So you put your hand up again. I reckon Traeger Park.
It's more a bit of a gag. I haven't played anything forward ever, but it would be quite fun.
Traeger Park's a big
I was going to say it's a big spot. So
I'm a big man. So put me down there.
Fill a hole nicely. Also, Max Gawn is another one I want to chat to you boys about. Obviously, the combination of Max and big Braden Pruce on the weekend. We saw that in action. Maxie and his little to-do with the umpires. Did you get a laugh out of that where he said, "That's ruckcraft, big boy," to one of the umpires?
That's interesting. He usually is first to shake their hands after a game because he wants to get 3
Brownlow
votes.
votes,
So
yeah.
I don't know if he's good doing any well back chatting him, I guess. I missed that, but it's quite funny.
Yeah, I haven't heard that either. That's something that Max would say. Doesn't surprise me.
Oh, mate. It was very, very entertaining. They did prove a handful, those 2 boys, though.
Yeah, obviously Max is probably the one of the top 2 ruckmen in the comp, if not the best. And Braden's been learning off him for 6 to 8 months now, and he's a monster of a man. So if you can learn half the things and do half the things Max teaches him, then he'll be a pretty decent ruckman. When we need him as a ruckman in the team, or otherwise as a forward, he's a huge target to kick to.
So Melky, you back around round 20. Hibbo, the next 6 weeks. What can you tell Melbourne supporters about how you and the boys will attack the back end of the season?
Yeah, I guess as I spoke before about the back line, it's good to have our core group back together And I guess we're going to try take a bit out of the season now. I'm not sure if finals are 100% out of the question, but what we want to do is bring that Melbourne brand of footy and consistency for the rest of the year, and hopefully finish off really strongly, and that'll take us into next year with a bit more fire on the belly, because we feel like we let a lot of people down this year the way we've performed. So we'll be trying our heart out every week.
West Coast, Traeger Park, a home away from home of sorts for the footy club, obviously with the sponsorship with the NT government, playing in the 2019 Indigenous Guernsey as well. So you can actually purchase that online at the Demon Shop. What's it like playing in the Alice?
It's been hot the last few times.
What a surprise.
But I actually had a look at the weather a couple of days ago, and it was a low of 0 and a high of 17, so it could be different. I might be wrong. I could have been looking at a different city, but
Different Alice Springs.
different Alice Springs. But
There's a few of them, are
yeah, no, it is. It's a nice ground. We actually performed quite well there. The last game we played was at Adelaide, who were going really well at the time, and we actually thrashed them and played really well. So it's a home away from home for us, and we're excited to get away together.
Do you stay at home with the family, Jake, or are you travelling?
Yeah, I will this weekend. I actually travelled 2 weeks ago when we went to Brisbane.
Yep.
And that, going back to your question earlier about what my role's been game day, that was something quite different.
Running water, or what were you doing?
Well, no, it was different. When you go away as a player, you're usually so busy in prepping yourself for the game.
Yep.
Night before the game, day of the game, when you get to the ground, even when you leave the game to go to the bus, like, you're flat out. But as a player or as a coach, or a staff member, if you're not lugging luggage around or doing jobs, it's quite boring waiting around. So I just spent 2 days waiting around for these boys. And we lost as well, which made the weekend even more fun.
Just running around getting us coffees and stuff like that. It was good.
Looking after me teammates, just getting them ready.
You two, your history together is well known. Obviously, arrived at the club both from Essendon. Do you still find yourself hanging out together? Here you are on the podcast together.
Yeah, it's well, we've been good mates for a long time now, and we're only 2 doors down from in the locker room.
Right?
So we give each other a fair bit of stick every day. But yeah, it's you just, when I'm hanging out on my own, for some reason Melky's always like 2 steps away, so can't get away from him. But probably couldn't live without him either.
Do you still contest the John Daly Cup?
It's
Golf?
been the inaugural John Daly Cup.
Tell
was
us about
last
that.
year.
Oh, that was the first, was it?
Yeah, it was the
Inaugural,
first.
yes.
But there'll be many to come. Got good feedback about the event.
So this is with a few former teammates from Essendon.
Yeah, and like, it's, I think we're open for applications. But anyone that's a likely type, welcome to come along and have a bit of fun.
It's going to be
bring something to the table.
Yeah, it's going to be the John Daly Invitational next year. So we can invite one person. So I think there was 12 of us last year.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get that to 24, which I think we'll have no short of applications. It's
more
of
a social outing, or
we weren't really hitting them too well around the 16, 17 hole mark. It was more just try to get to the end without crashing the cart, to be honest. But it was what a day it was.
Yeah, it's great. Definitely.
We've got plenty of questions to take from the outer, which we'll dive into very, very shortly with thanks to Zurich. Just a couple of ones on the side. Jake, doing some great work with your academy, Next Gen Minis. Tell us about that if you can.
Yeah, it's going great. So we've got a footy academy for kids aged 2 to 5. It's football based, which there's nothing like it in the market. Everything's soccer, basketball, you name it. There's a sport except for footy. So this is a program that you can do pre-Auskick. So as most people know, you have to be 5 to participate in Auskick, but if you're a little bit younger and you love your footy, then you can come along to Next Gen Minis and take part in that. But it's basically a bit of footy fundamentals, some basic coordination, fine and gross motor skill development, and we're hoping to start running that through school curriculums and all throughout Australia.
And for the parents listening, is it sort of free babysitting as well? Like good chance to just throw your kids into it and
Pretty
see you
much,
later?
Yeah, so the 2 and 3 year olds is parent assisted, but they can just keep a watchful eye over them and make sure that they actually don't run too much of a muck. But it's good for this time of the year. It's footy season. You want to get the kids out of the house, and it's something that you can do whether whether or not the weather is good or bad. It's inside. Kids are nice and safe, and it's a fun environment to be around.
Hibbo, any side businesses that you've got going?
Nah, not really, mate. So I've got an F45 gym down in Frankston. So my mate runs that. Well, we're in it together as a few of us. Michael Hurley's in on it as well. I have minimal input on the whole situation, but that's about it. And just playing my footy, mate.
Well, speaking of, you've got a hand in a body fit as well, is that right? Aren't they rival businesses?
There's finger and pies everywhere.
Building the empire.
Melbourne. Yeah. So Body Fit Training in Port Melbourne, we opened probably 7 or 8 months ago, and similar to Michael, have a little bit of a hand in it. But guys down there are doing a great job at the moment, just keeping things ticking along. So
Hibbo, spoke to you about at the Best and Fairest about wedding plans. Is it happening soon?
Yeah. She hasn't pulled out yet, which is good. Jan 3rd.
Anthea,
yeah. So
beautiful fiance
down in Lindonderry, Red Hill. Which on my 30th, believe it or not. So I won't forget the anniversary.
You might not remember it either.
Yeah. It's all coming together well. Anthea's she's a machine, so she's put it all together, and I'm just saying yes sir, no sir. Not exactly no sir. I'm just a yes man. So, but all good. Looking forward to it.
Very good. We'll continue the conversation after this short break with thanks to Zurich. We're going to head into the outer.
Thanks to our co-major partner and podcast sponsor, Zurich. For over 100 years, they've been ensuring the people and the things you truly love. And just like you, they truly love footy and they truly love Melbourne.
Welcome back to Inside Melbourne. Jake Melksham, Michael Hibbard with us in the studio as we look ahead to the match with West Coast Traeger Park on Sunday. Heading into the outer with thanks to Zurich. Quite a few questions this week for Melky. Hibbo as guest co-host. I'm going to throw the honour of question 1 from the outer to you.
Yeah, one's really stood out for me here from Tone Lock. Is the J in your name a soft J and your name is actually pronounced Yake, but you can't be bothered pulling anyone up for it? If so, why haven't you told me yet?
Off to a big start.
No, that's definitely not right. My name's Jake. I've never known anyone to be Yake, but maybe if I was Swedish or European of some sort, it might be the case.
Oh,
we do get some good ones. Often the players infiltrate, but haven't had any input for a little bit. So questions welcome from the boys. Luke Miller asks, if you could bring one player to the club, who would it be? Who do you sit back and admire in AFL ranks and think, geez, I'd bloody love them to be playing for the Ds?
Yeah, good question. I think I love watching Steele Sidebottom play. I think he works really hard, runs hard, but his skills are, top notch. So it's nice watching him run around either side of his body and hitting up forwards. Who's another good player? I like Toby Green at Top Flight. Toby Green, 2 years ago when he was pretty much doing anything possible. And these are guys, apart from the obvious ones like Cripps and all the rest of them, which is never going to happen. But they're some of the guys that I like to watch go about their business.
You like a player like Toby Green when he's playing in your colours as opposed to you're playing against him.
Yeah,
definitely when you're watching him on TV, you love it. Yeah. But when you're playing against him, you just want
he's an antagonist and you just want to smash him. But he's an unbelievable player and hard to play on, that's for sure.
What about you, Hibbo? Who do you think?
Well, he was going to go the no obvious. I was just going to go Fife. He can do everything. He's in the midfield. He wins clearances. He wins his own ball. You can go down forward and take marks and kick goals. Like, if you could have 22 of him on your team, I think it'd be pretty good. But, that's a boring answer, apparently.
Question from Lukey Gallo. He wants to ask what, if anything, you got Christian, as in Christian Salem, for his birthday. I believe he notched up 24 years old during the week.
24, yeah.
Was it noted?
He's got enough stuff.
Yeah.
Has he?
Christian's had a good life.
He's still at home. He saves his money and he can buy his own stuff.
His dad's got about 6 blocks in Brighton. They've combined to one house, a couple of tennis courts.
Restaurants as well?
Yeah, there's probably a couple of restaurants on the side of the house too.
Buy him a stress ball maybe. I beat him at FIFA the other day and
he
lost his marbles, so I might get him something like that.
He a proud FIFA
I'm a freak.
player? No, is he?
Yeah,
He
he
doesn't
loves it.
take what he-
He reckons he's the best, but obviously I didn't covered. So, he loves it and track. But you could probably picture that from track.
Have you been subjected to a Christian Salem haircut yet?
Nah, I'll need one though. So maybe I'll save the $10 I'll pay for mine and go down and get one from Christian.
The interesting one was a few weeks back when they were in Darwin, and Petrarca had half of his hairline missing from Christian Salem. He tried to fade it up, and on TV was just this big patch. I sent him a screenshot and said, "Mate, you need to cut your hair before the next game." It's shocking, but all these kids, they're on big money and they're afraid of spending it at a good barber.
We'll straighten up for a little bit before we have a bit more fun. Kim wants to know, does the team have psychology training on embracing the moment or taking ownership of a particular moment? It's an interesting question about psychs in footy clubs.
Yeah, we definitely do have a couple psychs at this club that have helped particular players individually, like in their own time, deal with that sort of thing, and a bit of mindfulness and seizing the moment, as Kim said there. But a lot of the learning and education that we got last year around games late when we were losing a game that was really tight was, if I think back to Geelong, down at Geelong when we were winning for most of the night, taking your full 30 seconds with your set shot and just having a bit more composure and ice in your
Clarity,
mind late in games. So, that's something that is happening at our footy club, and I would say it's happening at most clubs.
Yeah, I'd say the same. We have psychs at the club that guys utilise a lot, and it's probably all about training for those moments. You know, like in drills when you're fatigued, having those set shots and actually putting them through the big sticks. You know, and like Jake said, the win the game scenarios, 2 minutes to go. That's all in here in rooms just like this, going through footage and making sure everyone's in the right position. But being able to do all these things under fatigue with 50,000 people screaming, that's just another stress. And these psychs probably help players with that.
One more. Sam Hall asks, what needs to change? Surely we can't accept these losses without changing something. I know a lot of work is being done behind the scenes, but it's an interesting one, isn't it? Is there a need for change, or is it just more about sticking to what we know and doing it better?
I mean, you tinker with things nearly weekly, but the foundations of our game, I think we know that it stacks up. We saw that last year, and we've seen that in patches this year. It's just getting that consistency. But we're working hard week in, week out, day in, day out to get results. And I'm sure they'll come in time. Hopefully that's in the next 6 weeks. People can see the positives in that. But and then you got the whole pre-season to work out what a winning team looks like.
Charlie Anderson asks, who is the prankster around the club? Reckon I know the answer, but Melky?
Oh,
Him. You.
Prankster? No, I'm not really a prankster.
Nibba?
Just a bit of, run a few gags. Probably Nibbler.
Really?
Yeah, I reckon no one does pranks except for Nibs because he gets so much joy out of it.
Yeah, Alex
funny.
Nible's good. Like
He's good at it.
he'll tie like a cup of water inside your locker with a shoestring on it, and then when you open it, the water will go on your face or something like that. He did that to me. That's why I'm saying it. And
bitter.
little things like that. Like my boots are going missing today. I got a fresh pair of boots this morning, and there's an empty box in my locker with no boots. I still don't know who has them, but I reckon it was Nibbler.
You're on notice.
Yeah.
Also, who's the funniest teammate in the locker room and why? This is from D's Fans 2019. Melky?
There's Track has his good days and then he has his bad days. But his good days, I love, and his bad days aren't I love them too. I can handle him. Some guys he's a bit much for, but when he's in a mood, when he's in one of those moods, it's hard to say what sort of mood it is. But he's just like a hyperactive child, quoting movies and yelling out one-liners.
Hyperactive child's a good sort of summation.
He
isn't
has
it?
like 5 conversations at once. And if he has a conversation with me, I'll be answering, and he'll be already on to someone else over there talking and asking them questions. So I'm like, oh, geez, this kid's on fire. I reckon Braden Pruce really makes me laugh.
Yeah, we had him on last week and he was very funny.
He's very good. Just dry and weird, but it's right up my alley. So.
You mentioned the word mood. Are there any moody operators?
Chunk.
Yeah.
Frosty.
Yeah, Frosty.
Frosty's at the top.
Yeah.
So
Frosty.
me and Frosty and Hibbo are actually in the corner furthest of the locker room, which is the bowling end of the cricket pitch in the locker room. So myself, Frosty and Pig, we all have about 6 people lining up to bowl balls while we're getting changed or getting ready for training and stuff like that. So Frosty, he's nearly snapped a few bats in there and banned cricket a couple of times, but he's actually dealing with it all right.
He's been good the last couple of weeks, Frosty, but he's grumpy.
Tony Galacci asks, hey, Jake Milksham, want to know, apart from the players, who's the best kick at the club? I'm assuming he means coaching staff generally.
Well, Tony's actually our game day, one of our game day officials who gives out our playing jumpers and jackets, and he actually kicks the balls back to us in the warm-up. And he can barrel them one step, like 60 metres, one step drop punt and hit you on the chest, unbelievable leg on him. So he's set himself up nicely there for a little compliment, Tony. I would have to say him.
Clearly a fan of his own work.
It's amazing.
He kicks bullets. It's.
If you get to the game early and watch us warming up, you'll see him in the goal square. He's a sizable lad. He won't mind me saying he's a bigger lad, but he can kick the ball about 60 off one step.
Set himself up.
And please assure Alistair Jess before we wrap up the podcast. He says, "Is your foot stuck in a black hole where time stands still?"
Nah, it's all good. So I think that some important information to sort of get out there is that because it's a trauma injury and from impact, it's a lot different to a stress-related injury in your foot. So basically, once my foot starts to feel better symptomatically, which it is already, and there's no more pain and whatnot, then it means it's healed. Whereas a stress fracture, like some of the boys have had, it's a little bit different, and you've got to really treat them carefully. So, no stress for me, and all will be well. In a couple of weeks, you'll see me back out there.
No stress. The scooter was a good look, though.
Yeah, the scooter was good. The scooter, I actually got used to it. I hated walking when I got off it because I was getting everywhere so quickly. Apart from lugging it in and out of my car, which was quite annoying. But yeah, I'm glad to be ably moving now.
So are we, Milky, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully sooner rather than later. Hibbo, love seeing you back. Good luck for the trip to Alice Springs.
Thanks,
Not
mate.
sure which Alice Springs you're heading to, but hopefully it's the one right in the middle of Australia.
I swear I looked at it was in the middle of the Australia map. It said 0 to 17. I hope I'm wrong. Thanks,
Hopefully
mate.
the boys turn up the heat on Sunday against the Eagles. Of course, keep in mind that 2019 Indigenous Guernsey can be purchased online at the Demon Shop. Thanks for dropping in, boys. Best
Thanks,
of luck.
mate. Cheers.
We'll chat to you soon here on Inside Melbourne with Thanks to Zurich.